everyone. Welcome to the Red Carpet Report panel. My name is Sarah Ball, and I'm the market editor at People. And I'm so excited to be leading this discussion today. So I just wanted to start with a few quick housekeeping notes. At any time during this discussion, feel free to leave your comments, questions, or technical support requests in the chat box. Just know that it is public, so everyone will see what you're posting. Secondly, we'll be starting the discussion with our panel for 30 minutes, and we're saving 10 minutes at the end for Q&A. This will be recorded, and you'll have access to this post-event. Follow us at Glamhive and interact with us socially using the event hashtag GlamhiveLive. We'd also like to say a quick thanks to Mary Kay for supporting the summit. Mary Kay and Mary Kay Global Design Studio celebrate a world where beauty, fashion, and empowerment are synonymous. Mary Kay champions creative industries that are diverse, inclusive, and innovative at their core. So now it's time to introduce the amazing panel here who all work with celebrities to create red carpet looks. So I'll start with Tara Swenson first, who is a celebrity stylist. Jen Rade, who is also a celebrity stylist. Sheridan Ward, who is a hairstylist, and Mary Wiles, who is a makeup artist. So we'll start the discussion. I'll start with Tara. So first and foremost, will red carpets still exist post-pandemic?
Yeah, they're coming back. Hopefully coming back with a vengeance. It's slow but steady. You know, obviously I think the Oscars were one of our first major carpets. We had the MTV Movie Awards, which I dressed someone for this past weekend. I believe Billboard is tomorrow, right? And so, yeah, I think they're coming back. It's great.
Okay, so let's see, Jen. So when selecting a look for your client, does the fear of ending up on a worst dress list ever become a factor?
No. I do not care what anyone thinks of what I'm doing. I work off of what I like and what is right for the client and that particular event. And really have never, I mean, touch wood, I don't think I've ever had anybody on a worst dress list, but I don't really look. And again, you're dressing for the person and for your own aesthetic. And I don't think about what other people think. You know, if it hits and people like it, that's great. And you can't please everyone anyway. So I don't think that's really the attitude that you should have as a stylist. Is it really should be about what's working for the person and for you.
I tell my clients if they haven't been on the worst dress list, they haven't been trying hard enough.
I guess this is kind of for both of you. So post-pandemic, has it really changed the way that you've pulled from designers when dressing celebs for red carpet and events?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been forced into that position. I mean, I started doing a commercial yesterday, you know, on Rodeo Drive that I hadn't hit forever, and the entire landscape has changed. You know, you're seeing department stores that have lost entire floors worth of merchandise. A lot of these major designers haven't been stocking their shelves, you know, just due to fear that it won't sell. And now actually everyone's back, you know, shopping and they're selling out and they don't have stock or doubles or what have you. A lot of other designers have sort of needed to cut corners so they don't, you know, want to cover shipping, or they're, you know, being much more particular about who they want to loan to. So yeah, the landscape has definitely changed. But I also think that people are so eager to get their stuff back on the carpets that, you know, there's a flip side to everything. So, but yeah, it feels very different. And one of the craziest and saddest things, and it's slowly coming back, was that, you know, because our industry was hit so hard, so many people were furloughed or let go. So a lot of the people that you used to work with just aren't there anymore, or they've shifted companies. So that's a whole nother level of just, you know, clerical stuff you have to figure out. But yeah, it's different.
Yeah, I think the same. It's like musical PR people. You really, where you think someone was at this showroom or a brand had an external PR company, they've scaled back and moved to internal PR. And I feel kind of like Tara said, that on some people maybe are being more picky, but I feel like a lot of people are just really needing placements So, I mean, there was a point there where people were just sending things out to be placed for an Instagram photo, big brands that would never do something like that before, but entire seasons and entire collections were going to go unused. So they were sending I would see things and be like, wow, that person is wearing that brand. I don't think that would have happened prior, but now they just really need to get stuff placed.
Interesting. So Mary, I guess this one could be for you. So as the world shifts and priority changes, will Barely There makeup become a popular red carpet look? Or do you think stars are going to be ready to just go all out and make up for lost time?
I think that's going to be a personal choice by the celebrity or the client that you're working with. I think this pandemic has made people realize what's important to them and what they care about. So I think it's going to continue in the vein that we're looking after the client foremost and first, and it's a collaboration. It's still going to go on what they're wearing, and what's best for their skin, their coloring. It's going to be to do with that. I do think in a way it's going to be a little bit like the Roaring '20s after the war, because it's a little bit like being after the war.
A lot of sex and booze.
And makeup.
And makeup. Sheridan, so for you, how would you say that beauty contributes to a winning look? And what do you think we can expect to see on the red carpet?
Well, I feel like people generally had their hair in top knots and buttons for the whole of the pandemic. So I think there definitely will be a need to dress up and feel like a real person again. I think we're going to see a lot of people being a lot braver actually on the red carpet. But then saying that though, from my personal style, I think it's what Mary was saying too. I think it's so important that you find something that really works for you, so flattering, and you just kind of work around that. And of course, you just alter your look depending on what you're wearing. If you have jewelry that needs to be seen or a high neck on a dress, then the hairstyle will change to fit that event or that look. But I feel like just find something that really works for you, that you just look gorgeous. And I just love a timeless classic, that hair color that you're born with that just looks amazing, that maybe you're a bit bored of, but then people spend hundreds of dollars in the salon paying to have the same hair color that you've got, that you were born with, that you just don't really like. It's like so funny to me. So I'm like, just stick with what you've got, find a style that works for you. And I feel like we're going to see a lot of people just really embracing what they already have on the red carpet, because I think people were just, maybe they were buying into everything too much before the pandemic. And I think it stripped everything back and made us realize actually we don't need as much. We don't need all that fuss or that pomp and sermon. Like actually we can just kind of have nice skin, a gorgeous dress, and just a beautiful, simple blow dry. Maybe that's enough. And then I think you'll find probably younger talent being a bit more adventurous and kind of crazy, and that's where we get to really use our creative skills. So it's going to be a bit of both, I think. I think everyone's just going to be very happy to be dusting off their heels and walking down those moth-eaten red carpets one more time.
Yes. Jed, any tips or tricks for the average person, how they can create a red carpet worthy look, just for any special event that they have?
I mean, I think everybody I always say to be a great stylist, you have to find the beauty in everyone, and everyone has something, whether that's beautiful eyes or great shoulders or legs or hair or whatever it is. And like our job as a stylist is to find that beautiful thing and accentuate it. And, I want people to leave a fitting with me feeling better about themselves and about their body and whatever. And I think that applies to all women or men, is just to say, like what Sheridan was saying, like who is your natural self, and how can you accentuate that to be, comfortable and, just kind of being who you are, and picking out whether that's a great silhouette or everything can't be something. That's my trademark motto. Everything can't be something. You need a lot of nothing to make your something stand out. And if your something is a leopard heel, then you need simple things for everything else. And like for me as a person with curly hair, you know,
I love
a
your
lot of
hair.
things. I was just gonna say, I cut my own hair twice with scissors that I got at Staples. I know.
Okay, everyone watching, I would not recommend that.
No, I would not recommend that either, because it's all frizzed out on the ends, and it was really not a good idea. Luckily with curls, it hides it. But I need to make an appointment with Sheridan. If he cuts curls, I'm signing up immediately.
I even do cuts via Zoom, just so you know. Believe it or not.
Wow.
I even do cuts via Zoom. It's come to that.
What?
Wow,
I'm so into that. But then, you're not gonna be happy with my scissor selection, because it's either fabric scissors or office scissors that were like $4.99. But you have to kind of work with what you have. And like, I'm not a girl that's gonna get a blowout. It looks horrible on me. And sometimes when I don't wear a lot of pattern, or it's something muted, because it competes then with my hair. So you kind of have to just take a good hard look at yourself and say, what is the thing that you want to feature, and make it about what that is. Is it going to be a strong color, or you want a leg slit? You don't show your boobs and your legs. Like, pick a thing, show that thing, and then, go with that.
That's wonderful advice. Okay, this is, I guess, for Tara, but whoever, kind of piggybacking on the whole cutting your hair with Zoom. The pandemic's really created some interesting advances in like how social media and digital things are impacting the industry. So how do you think, as a stylist, or is there a way that you can suggest that posting and sharing the process of getting ready and getting dressed can benefit the stylist and also the celebrity pre-award show?
Well, I think everyone, wants connection right now still, right? And so I think even as we sort of, get back out into society, everyone loves a good BTS photo, So I know it's one of the things that has changed for us as stylists. We're like, I think glam used to take more of the behind the scenes images, right? The tights of the hair and the makeup. But we would sort of just wait for the red carpet photos, and then we just post the carpet photos. So for not being able to do that for a year, where we were dependent on these, Zooms, or just, we would ask our clients to, do a quick photo shoot in the backyard, it's kind of normalized it. And so now it's actually kind of nice, because then you actually get to creative direct a little bit as well. And so, you can get that beautiful shot with the right lighting or what have you, as opposed to just depending on paparazzi pictures. So that's actually kind of nice. I know that I didn't take to social media as much prior to the pandemic, but utilized it quite frequently, especially to promote, sustainability, which, I love to champion, and all those kind of things. So that has definitely been something that I've pivoted towards more, using my brand to sort of, as a voice, if you will. And I think a lot of people did that, stars included. So, I hate to say it, but it's all growing, we're all gonna be robots in 20 years. But, for now, it's a nice way to reach your audience, to, show people also the normalcy of what, we do behind the scenes, and that it's just like a fun team job where we all get together and help elevate someone to their most beautiful, natural self. So, yeah.
Very cool. And then I know you touched on sustainability, but I just wanted to ask, how important do you think it will be, post-pandemic, when dressing celebrities and really anyone for any event?
Well, I think the shift is definitely occurring. It's one. Sorry, my pig's in the background. I was laughing. I think that I think everyone is sort of starting to realize that there is a responsibility, to how you interact with people, our responsibility to the planet, obviously to generations moving forward. We don't want things like this to happen again, and really just like stall civilization and all that in general. So I think as far as the fashion industry and also the cosmetic, hair, people are demanding transparency. People want to shop with a little bit more of a conscience and know that they're, promoting good, but also not damaging the environment or the people involved or the animals involved in making things. So I do think that there is going to be a wild shift. I think it's going to take a minute to really settle in. But I do know that most people are starting to really, like, a lot of my clients will not wear fur anymore. It hasn't, sort of transgressed to leather yet, but it is slowly happening. My clients know that I'm an avid activist, so I'm always going to have vegan options, at a fitting. They might not necessarily do it, but at least, there's an exploration going on. So hopefully in the next, 4 to 5 years, I think people will really, it won't even be something that you think about. It'll just be, this is what the designers have provided, and it'll be a nice change.
I just want to say, I think along with just the pandemic, I just hate saying that word, honestly. I don't need to hear that word ever again. I think just a lot of what's been happening in society, like just racially and culturally, it's really given an opportunity for smaller brands, Black owned, people of color, like how Zarina started Black owned everything, to be able to go to Instagrams like that and see. I mean, I know for me, because she's my friend, like I look and I'm like, oh my God, like she posted some great designer that prior to not that I wouldn't, because I'm always looking, I'll turn over every stone to find some small brand. But it's because we almost have been forced to slow down a little bit. And a lot of times before, everything is so incredibly rushed. Like you might get a call from a publicist at 3 in the afternoon and you have a fitting the next day. So you don't have time. You really just need to go to the 4 or 5 showrooms that are going to have shoes, jewelry, dress, bag, and you can get in and get out and get done. And I think this has given a chance for us to all slow down and discover a lot of newer designers, new brands that we have time now to like investigate and look into and support, and just be a lot more conscious of who are these brands. And when we put them out there, whether we like it or not, you might give the right person a bag and that bag sells out in a day. So you want to be aware of who you are supporting and who you're putting out there, because the world does pay attention. And that is, you do have a responsibility to use your voice in a way that's supporting the whole broader design community.
Totally. Sorry. I guess I'll go to Mary. And as we're talking about shifting from the pandemic, how important is it for people or celebrities, whomever, to just get out of that everyday rut of doing the same sort of makeup and using the same kind of products, and touching to what you're talking about, Jen, about discovering new brands? How do you think that translate with the beauty industry, and how important is it for people to do that and to kind of explore that way?
Well, it's very easy to get stuck in a rut because you find things that work for you, but products are changing all the time, and the consistency of foundations and what's coming out is elevating products so much that you can use them in different ways. So I would suggest, like always going into somewhere like Sephora and checking out their new products. They often have them at the end of shelves, and you can see all the ones that they're promoting. You can ask them what is the new lines, the new colors that have come out in every line, and then also seeing what's happening. When the shows do come back, looking on Instagram, looking at what colors are for that season, and going a little bit out of your comfort zone, because it's really interesting. If you're not used to wearing color on your eye, you could use a tiny liner in a bright green or a bright purple on a hazel eye, or a lovely gold on a blue eye. And it's amazing how that just a touch of color can really make your skin and your eyes come alive. So it's just about trying out things and testing things. By the way, we're both vaccinated, so I just want to
fully vaxxed in a bubble.
I don't know anyone who isn't vaccinated. Everyone I know is vaccinated.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Sheridan. So
Yeah.
I guess when talking about like with digital and social, with events coming up, is there a hairstyle that you suggest that you feel that anyone could just recreate some sort of celebrity red carpet look, and do you guys have any tips and tricks on how to create the best look that's camera friendly, I suppose?
Oh, that's quite a lot of questions in one.
I know.
Time for that. Okay. Number one, don't necessarily copy someone. I would definitely recommend being inspired, because just because someone has one look doesn't mean it's going to suit your face shape or suit your hair texture or hair type. So be inspired by something, but really adapt it for what you have to offer. And when it comes to like red carpet, I would feel like the key is always just to do something that is beautiful and iconic, and that could be something as simple as poker straight hair. It doesn't sound very exciting, but on a red carpet it photographs beautifully. It's super chic, super elegant, and if one gust of wind by chance catches one of those gorgeous shiny locks, it's like magic for the paparazzi taking pictures. You know, it just adds all the magic. So sometimes the simplest things are actually the most beautiful. So I wouldn't recommend like you have to do this crazy halo braid and put some pink in. I mean, you can do that, but I would say just keep it really simple, because actually the simplest things for us are often the hardest to do, the most technical. The no makeup and the super shiny glass-like hair is often what takes the longest to do. It actually takes a lot of precision to get it looking mirror-like, or get the makeup looking like they haven't got any on. So yeah, I'd say work on the basics, and just, I mean, the whole point in hair and makeup is that you're elevating yourself. So it's still you, but just an elevated version. And I feel like that's definitely my aesthetic. I'm not into this crazy transformations. I think just work with what you've got and just make yourself look spectacular from every angle.
What he said. That. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Unseen.
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations in terms of products that you feel are best for being in front of the camera? Right.
Is that for me?
Yes, or for both of you, really, but yes, for you. Oh. Yeah.
I think, I mean, I always like to use things that are really long wearing, so that you don't have to, the client doesn't have to keep reapplying, or they don't have to worry about it. They don't have to worry about it, you know, in terms of lipstick transferring too much, or if they kiss someone, it's not going to end up on their cheek or on their clothes, or their hair's not going to wipe it off. So I like to use products that are going to stay in place as much as possible. So things like the new, I mean, they're not so new anymore, but in the last few years, nearly every line has brought out liquid lipsticks, which are really high pigmented, but and then dry and but are still quite moisturizing and stay in place, so you don't have to worry about that moving. The same with like liners. You get these gel liners that after they have a little bit of play time, so you can move them and create a lovely shape and sort of get it in between the lash lines, so you get depth without too much heaviness. And then after like 20 seconds, they're set, and that's it. They're not going to move. So, you know, things that are waterproof, I always use, if possible, I always use a waterproof mascara. It keeps the lashes curled and it doesn't smudge. So I try and use as much things as that's waterproof and that's going to stay in place, so that I'm not concerned about anything moving if once they've gone off in the car, and it's going to end up, you know, want everything to still be in place for the rest of the evening. So,
and even if they take a dip in the pool, they'll come out still be flawless, with the most beautiful wet hair Kim could actually
I wish that were my case. I guess, and just back to like the stylist on that kind of that same note, do you guys have any like products you swear by, or any tips and tricks that you think would be helpful to just like the average person, and when they're trying to post on social or they're in front of a Zoom camera, which hopefully we're not for much longer.
Double-sided tape. I mean, Top Stick or Hollywood fashion tape or Super Stick. I mean, for everything, for me, that's, and I'm sure for Tara, because even if it's something really small, like your bra doesn't quite line up, the straps don't quite line up with the dress, just a piece of double-sided tape and like you're good. Or if there's something crossover and you need, you know, you can rip it in half, use a tiny piece. They come in shapes. I use it, I mean, on commercial sets, like, or even in red carpet, if someone has a tie and you just want to make sure the front of the tie isn't like blowing around in the wind, or you have a belt, but the belt's a little too long, so you use it on the side of the belt. That's key for me. And like a lint roller, and I always have safety. There are probably safety pins on my pants. Like I take them off on jobs and they go on my belt loops, and then they just go through the wash and come right back out with 9 safety pins on them. It's not a fashion statement. It's just laziness, I think, at its core. And
Lazy never looks so
like,
good, Jennifer.
What?
Lazy never looks so good.
Really? God, I like you. Can I kidnap you and bring you over? Oh shoot, you need to come over later.
I would say
Set
mine
that up.
are logistical. I mean, besides the quintessential things like, you know, Top Stick or Spanx, I am a really big fan of sweat protectors, because I think people forget about that, and then some of their satin shirts get stained and things like that, or they smell. And one of my favorite things these days are essentially liquid sprays that you can put on your feet that act as band-aids, right? So, you know, brands like Pre-Heals, and you can find a ton of them. But essentially it just creates this clear layer of protection, so that if you're trying out a new shoe or whatever, and you know you're gonna, you know, come back after a long night and have that blister, it actually really helps. It's like preventative. So those are tricks that I think a lot of people don't know about, that just for me, you know, I'm all about comfort. So I don't want to, you know, worry about those things. So those types of things are really helpful for me. I like those.
Being
Yeah, and
comfortable
also
never looks
some.
good.
No, I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your story.
For what?
I want to hear what he was gonna say.
Oh,
It was just a comedy moment. Taking advantage
into
of
that.
a quick
I'm into
breath
that.
break.
I need to be entertained. I was just gonna say another thing for me, like I like to have in my kit bag is non-slip sticky things. They're like, you know, pebbled rubber, and you stick them on the bottom of your shoe just so you feel like a little bit more secure. I mean, the stylist way, at least for me, is that I just take scissors and draw lines. I scrape the shoe in like every pattern. I'll do lines this way, lines up and down, you know, just if someone has a new shoe and it, you know, I don't want them to feel slippery or uncomfortable. And I'll also like, if I'm giving someone a shoe and it's a Friday and the event's on a Sunday, I always tell them to wear the shoe around their house, even if it's like 20 minutes on Friday, 45 minutes on Saturday, just so that it's not like the first time at the day of the event that they're just wandering around their house for a little bit to kind of break the shoe in, so that if there is a problem where a part of the shoe is rubbing or gonna cause a blister or uncomfortable and we need to get a pad, I don't want to find that out. You know, I don't want someone on the red carpet planning the voodoo doll of me that they're going to make later, that they're going to be evilly stabbing. I'd rather find that out on a Saturday that we need to do something and the shoe is not that comfortable. You know, I don't want that last minute surprise.
All very great advice. I think it's time for a Q&A. So if anyone else has any other questions for the panel, you can go ahead and add those in. We'll try to get them answered as quickly as possible, but I guess we're almost out of time. So I just want to thank the panel and thank you all for attending and joining today. You'll now have a 5-minute transition, and you can take a quick break, and then you can enter your next session on the agenda tab under the conference site. So thank you all so much. It was a pleasure talking.
Thanks, Sarah.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. I hope I see you soon.